welcome back to Wave It Docker. Today's episode, or video, whatever, it's going to be the start of a new series. As the Orioles season begins to wind down and videos are going to be less frequent because postseason games are less frequent than regular season games, I want to start getting my toe in the water with other sports content. So this week we're going to be starting Waves Faves, a weekly NFL pick'em where, I just pick my favorites to win in each game. I am by no means an NFL expert. NFL is probably my third favorite league in American sports, probably behind the NBA and the MLB. I'm a huge Eagles fan, so there will be Eagles bias running rampant throughout these videos. But I'm a fan, but I can't go too in depth and get too analytical. But I do like the NFL, and I know a fair bit, and I think these picks are valid. I don't think I'm coming out of left field with anything. But hope you guys enjoy, and let's just get into it. First game of the week is the Washington Commanders versus Chicago Bears, Thursday Night Football. I think Washington is going to, I wouldn't say obliterate the Bears, but I think they're going to win pretty handily. Sam Howell actually looked pretty great last week against the Eagles in that nail-biter game that I hated to watch, but he actually looked pretty solid. Their passing game was really good, and Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson kind of were running wild against the Eagles defense. And, you can see that as you get the Washington's offense is just on point, or the Eagles defense just had a bad week. But I think the Eagles defense is pretty solid, and they looked solid in the 3 weeks before that. But I think Washington, they have a good quarterback in Sam Howell, so I think they're going to beat the Bears pretty handily. And the Bears are just, a dumpster fire right now. They haven't won since October 24th of last year. So, yeah, I'm picking Washington in this game. Next up is the Bills versus the Jaguars in that Sunday morning game in London. This is the second straight week where the Jags are playing in London, which I think is just weird. A weird decision by Jacksonville to do that to their fans. But whatever. I think the Bills are going to beat the Jaguars. The Jaguars had a pretty big win against Atlanta last week, but Atlanta has just not really been a good football team so far. And the Bills had a huge win, a huge narrative win against Miami last week after Miami, beat Denver by 50. I think Josh Allen is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Stephon Diggs looks really great. Yeah, I'm picking Buffalo. Next up is the Houston Texans versus the Atlanta Falcons. I'm taking Houston. I think C.J. Stroud is probably the best rookie in this class. He's looked phenomenal so far, and the Texans actually look pretty solid. They won last week. I think they beat, I forget actually. So yeah, I told you, I'm not a huge NFL guy. I usually just watch the Eagles. But I know they won last week, and C.J. Stroud has looked really solid. He actually has no interceptions through his first 4 games, and he has 900-some passing yards, which is pretty impressive. And yeah, Atlanta just hasn't really been a good football team so far, besides Bijan Robinson. He's looked really great, but Ritter just kind of looks lost out there. So I'm picking Houston. Next up is Detroit versus Carolina. I'm going to take the Lions. The Lions looked really good against Green Bay last week on Thursday night. I think their offense is really solid. And I like what Jared Goff has been able to do in Detroit. And I just think the Panthers really haven't really shown much. They lost last week to Minnesota. I think they're 1-3 right now. And Bryce Young, he has promise, but he hasn't really shown anything impressive yet. I do want Carolina to do good because I'm a big Miles Sanders guy, and he signed with them in the offseason. But, yeah, I honestly don't think they can really do much against Detroit, so I'm taking Detroit. Next up is Indianapolis versus Tennessee. I'm going to take the Colts. This was my first toss-up when I was going down the lineup of games. But I like Anthony Richardson. They had a tough loss against Los Angeles last week in overtime. But yeah, I think Anthony Richardson has a lot of upside, and he's shown pretty fair amount now that he's healthy. And I think, they have potential to be, 7 or 8 win team this year. And Tennessee, they're all right. I mean, Derrick Henry's Derrick Henry, so he's going to, he maybe rush for 50, 75 yards. But Tannehill, I'm not really impressed by him, and Hopkins really hasn't shown that much, so I'm going to take Indianapolis in this game. Next up is Miami versus the New York Giants. I'm taking Miami by 20. I think New York is just really terrible. I think Daniel Jones is awful. I think he might be a bottom 5 quarterback in the NFL, and Daboll just kind of looks like he's not really doing much. And I'm just not really impressed by what New York is doing, especially since Saquon Barkley's injured. And Darren Waller really hasn't shown that much. So yeah, I'm picking Miami by 25. Miami looked really good. Obviously, they lost last week, but they still have Waddle, Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill. They're a powerful offense. I think they're going to win pretty handily against the Giants. Next up is Patriots versus Saints. I'm going to take the Patriots. I think Mac Jones is going to be benched for Bailey Zappe, or Zappe, whatever his name is. I think that probably puts them in a better position to win at this point. They did just lose Christian Gonzalez, which kind of sucks for the season. But I'm not really impressed by New Orleans. This also might be a toss-up, but I don't know. I think New Orleans is not really impressive. I think Derek Carr, he's a good quarterback, but I feel like he's just not really. I don't know. I'm telling you, I'm not a big NFL. I'm not a big NFL analytics guy. I'm going off of vibes. So I'm taking New England in this game. I don't know, probably by 5 at least, something like that. But yeah, I'm taking New England. Next up, I'm gonna take it's Pittsburgh versus Baltimore. I'm gonna take Baltimore. Kenny Pickett bruised his knee in the game against I forget how they played, but yeah, I'm probably gonna take Baltimore. If Pickett ends up being benched, it will be Trubisky, and Trubisky's a solid quarterback. And Steelers, like, they have weapons. I think they're like 2-2 right now, but they just look kind of lost out there. Oh, they lost to Houston, I think. Yeah, they lost to Houston, pretty big. But yeah, I think the Steelers are kind of lost right now. There's not a lot of talk about them tanking for Caleb Williams, which is just like, I think that's just not really. That's just not the Steelers thing. Like, the Steelers, they're kind of like the Cardinals, or like, yeah, I feel like they're like the Cardinals of the NFL. Like, they're always at least like an 8 or 9 win team, and like, I feel like Mike Tomlin just wouldn't allow the front office to sort of goad him into tanking. So, but I mean, I'm still taking Baltimore. Obviously, Baltimore had that really rough loss against Indianapolis a few weeks ago, but I like Lamar Jackson. I think he's a really solid QB. I just think their offense is just a little iffy. Like, I don't know what the hype was with OBJ, and they lost J.K. Dobbins. Like, I think their offense is going to be the big issue this year, and obviously injuries. I don't know how many inactive they're going to have this week, because they had like 7 inactive the past 2 weeks against Cleveland and Indianapolis, but I'm still taking Baltimore. Next up is Cincinnati versus Arizona. I'm going to take the Bengals. The Bengals look really bad. They're 1-3. Joe Burrow's just not look like himself. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins really haven't been getting that many targets. And yeah, like, I think they're due for a bounce back. Obviously, the Cardinals had that big win against Dallas a few weeks ago, but I mean, they're Arizona. I think they're really not an impressive team. Like, Dobbs, he's cool. He's shown some stuff, but I think Cincinnati's due for a bounce back. Unless, of course, Joe Burrow's still, he's playing at like 60% right now, which is just not ideal for Cincinnati. But I'm still gonna take the Bengals. I think it's gonna be, I don't want to say a big win, but I think it's gonna be a win that shows like that they're like they're on the come up, because they started slow last year and they still made it to the AFC Championship. So yeah, I'm taking Cincinnati. Next up is Philadelphia versus Los Angeles. Like I said, I am a huge Eagles fan, and I'm gonna take the Eagles this week. Obviously, there's huge bias in play with this matchup that I'm choosing, but I don't know. There's optimism within the Rams that Cooper Kupp's going to be back this week, so that may be an issue. But that also may be the fact that they're going to limit Puka Nacua targets, so they're going to split up targets with that. I really don't think Stafford's going to like limit it as much as like he's limited his receivers in the past compared to Cooper Kupp. Like, I don't think he's going to force feed Kupp. I think they're going to take it slow. But I think the Eagles defense is going to bounce back compared to last week. It was really embarrassing watching that game and seeing Washington run and pass all over us, especially with that game-tying touchdown with a few seconds to go. But I'm still going to take the Eagles. I think just Sean Desai is going to scheme something up. We did just pick up a cornerback who used to play for the Saints. I forget his name, but we picked him up to bolster our secondary a little bit. Bradbury and Slay, I still think, are a top 5 cornerback duo in the NFL. And obviously our offense has looked really great so far. Swift has been a great pickup, which I could see from a mile away. A.J. Brown has been dominating. Devontae Smith is still the best wide receiver 2 in the league. Dallas Goedert's been getting some really good touches recently. Like, I think it's weird to say a bounce back win. Like, we're 4-0, but like, I think in terms of just to appease to the fans, and just because obviously Eagles fans, I know are very reactive, and we're like, I haven't been happy after any wins this year, but I just think it'll be like, I think Sirianni, Brian Johnson, and Sean Desai, they're gonna scheme something up and just make it. I think we're gonna win. We're both teams had now better wins last week. I need to stop rambling, but I think the Eagles are gonna beat Los Angeles at 4:00 on Sunday. That's all I'm gonna say. Next up is Jets versus Broncos. I'm gonna take the Jets. This is gonna be an awful game to watch. I feel like it's either gonna be a blowout or a pissing contest, like with under 30 total points scored. Zach Wilson played really great against Kansas City last week. He showed a lot of good stuff. He was playing for his team, and he was, taking accountability for the mistakes he made. Like, he looked like a different quarterback compared to the one over the last few years. I think he's going to have another great game. I think he saw that, if he plays like he's capable of, then his team has a fighting chance. And, that's like an obvious thing to say, but I feel like Zach Wilson really wasn't thinking about that. And it is kind of tough to, he was QB1 last year. He was benched, and then they signed Aaron Rodgers, or traded for Aaron Rodgers. So, and now he's back in the starting position. Like, it's a tough situation, but I think After last week, he got the team back behind him, and they're kind of screwed, by the refs. But I think I'm going to take the Jets in a win against Denver on Sunday. Next up is San Francisco versus Dallas. This is going to be a pretty big game. I think just for ESPN, I think they're going to be all over this game talking about it. I think I'm going to take the Niners, and I don't want to say a blowout, but they're going to win by, I think, at least two touchdowns. I think they're just a much better team top to bottom than Dallas. And they're arguably probably the best team/roster in the NFL, besides the Eagles, of course. But I am a huge Brock Purdy hater, but I mean, he has looked great, and CMC is the best running back in the league and arguably the best non-QB in the league. They're just a really good team. I hate to say it, but yeah, I think they're going to beat Dallas pretty handily. I think Dallas is kind of playing, they're definitely fraudulent. And I say this every year as an Eagles fan. I hate Dallas, but I think Dak is just not a good quarterback. And, they lost to Arizona 2 weeks ago. So, I think that's pretty apparent. But I think that's going to be a big, they're going to get exposed more than they did against Arizona. And I think it's going to be a big win for San Francisco. Next up and last up is Monday Night Football, Las Vegas versus Green Bay. That's going to be a mid-game. Oh my God, that was a national emergency test on my phone. Okay, Las Vegas, I'm still shaking up. Las Vegas versus Green Bay. It's going to be another pissing contest. I think it's going to be maybe 40 total points scored. I'm taking Vegas, though. Jordan Love really hasn't impressed me that much as the starter. And if Garoppolo's back, it'll be a bigger win, but it's probably going to be still, what's his name, Aiden O'Connell, the rookie QB. I'm still going to take Las Vegas. I think Devontae Adams is going to have 2 touchdowns and 100 receiving yards. God damn, I'm shaking up. But I hope you like this video. I hope you agree with my picks. I don't think many of them are outlandish. But I mean, I am a casual football fan, and I will be keeping track, of my record throughout the season. It's going to be a fun thing. But I hope you guys enjoyed the first episode of Faves, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.